The single most comforting lie. I think the biggest one we tell ourselves about achieving anything significant is this, that we just need a little more motivation.
Mm.
We wait for that spark, that bolt of inspiration that's supposed to make all the hard work feel easy.
And that waiting, that total reliance on a feeling, is the precise reason most people fail.
Mm-hmm.
Even people with genuinely brilliant ideas, they just never follow through.
Because the feeling fades.
It's designed to fade. Motivation is completely unreliable. It's high at the start, fueled by novelty, but it just vanishes the moment the effort really kicks in.
Or the task gets boring.
Exactly. It's the mental equivalent of a sugar rush. You
Yeah,
get that initial spike, but you crash right when you need the stamina.
right.
So the central and maybe uncomfortable question for you listening right now is,
Yeah.
what keeps you going? What system, what internal force keeps you executing when that excitement is completely gone?
Okay, so let's really unpack this. We're going to move beyond the pep talks and superficial goal setting.
Right?
This deep dive is about understanding discipline not as some kind of punishment, but as the ultimate tool. The thing that turns an average person with ambition into an extraordinary one who actually gets things done.
Mm.
When we say self-discipline, I think the first image that comes to mind is, well, it's restriction.
Sure. Waking up early, strict budgets.
Yeah, avoiding distractions. It just sounds like a recipe for a boring life.
Right.
But the sources we looked at suggest that's a really shallow way of thinking about it.
It is, because if discipline is just a checklist, you'll hate it. And you'll quit.
So what's the deeper meaning?
People confuse discipline with compliance. See, discipline isn't some external set of rules from a boss or from society. It's an internal commitment
A commitment to who?
to your future self. It's your inner compass, always reminding you of the direction you chose, making sure that no matter how tempting a detour looks, you stay the course.
Okay, I think we have to challenge that misconception right away. Why do so many people think discipline means being rigid, that it means missing out on life?
That is the greatest flip we have to make in our thinking. The truth is the absolute opposite.
How so?
Discipline gives you freedom, real profound freedom.
Explain that.
When you're disciplined, you reduce something called decision fatigue. You aren't spending every single afternoon debating, should I go to the gym, should I start that report?
Because the decision has already been made.
Precisely. And you eliminate that corrosive guilt that comes from procrastinating.
Oh, that's a big one.
It's emotionally exhausting.
It's
Discipline removes all that friction. It gives you this genuine, earned confidence because you know you are in control of yourself. And that controls also. That is the foundation of real strength.
So it's not a gift you're born with.
Not at all. The good news is that it's a skill. And like any skill, it can be developed. We can actually break it down into 4 foundational pillars that you build one by one.
I like that idea of building it. So what's the first step? What's pillar one?
Pillar 1 is,
Yeah.
let's call it a specificity of purpose. You need an unambiguous target.
So vague goals like I want to be successful or I want to get healthy don't work.
They're useless. Your mind will just wander aimlessly. You have to define success with measurable specificity. For example, I will launch a working e-commerce site by October 31st.
Or I will run a 10K by the end of the quarter.
Exactly. Clarity is the starting line.
But knowing what you want can be overwhelming. You see the huge mountain you have to climb and it leads to paralysis. How do you break that down?
That's the job of the second pillar, the micromap, or what some call implementation intentions,
So a plan.
more than a plan. You create tiny, predefined scripts for your behavior. The best technique is the if-then statement.
Give me an example.
If I finish dinner, then I will immediately spend 30 minutes on my main project. If I wake up before 6 a.m., then I will immediately put on my running shoes.
So you're making it automatic. You're taking your own willpower out of the equation in that moment.
You're bypassing that morning negotiation with yourself.
But setting that up is easy. Sticking with it, that's the hard part.
Which brings us to pillar 3, consistency, the endurance loop. Starting is easy, that's motivation. Continuing is discipline.
And this is where most people fall off.
This is it. But you can strengthen it. 2 tactics work really well. First, accountability. Just tell someone your goal.
Why does that work?
Because of a psychological need for consistency, you don't want to break the public expectation you've set. The second is using small, immediate rewards.
But not counterproductive ones.
Right. After an hour of deep work, your reward isn't 3 hours of Netflix. It's a 15-minute walk or a really good cup of coffee. It reinforces the behavior right away.
That makes sense. The small reward saves your mental energy for the next session. But what about all the noise? I mean, our attention is constantly under attack.
That requires pillar 4, focus, or what I like to call cognitive protection.
Protecting your mind.
Yes, you can't build focus through some heroic effort. You build it by controlling the input. You have to treat your attention like a precious resource.
So turn off notifications.
Turn them off. Eliminate unnecessary choices. And deliberately practice sustained concentration. Think of it less like a muscle you build and more like a sensitive sensor you have to protect. You keep the environment quiet so it can do its job.
You know, that idea of silent internal progress is really powerful because when you're doing those small, consistent things, it often feels like nothing big is happening. But you're saying the real change is happening inside, in your character, in your choices, long before anyone sees the results.
That's it, exactly. You are literally changing your internal operating system.
And that changes your relationship with the work itself.
Fundamentally,
Yeah.
for most people, work is a 4-letter word. It's a burden, something to escape so they can get to their real life on the weekend,
The whole thank God it's Friday mentality.
which is such a low satisfaction loop. But the disciplined person, they shift their perspective. They see work not as something to escape, but as a journey, an opportunity to grow, to learn, to explore their own capabilities. The job isn't just to earn money, it's a mission field for personal excellence. They treat every task, no matter how small, as a chance to deliver quality.
And this loops perfectly back to motivation. If you're disciplined, you don't need motivation. You're already running on the force of habit.
The debate is over. The internal argument about should I start or should I quit is totally irrelevant because you're already moving.
And the satisfaction comes from the daily process, not just the final goal.
Profoundly so. Fulfillment comes from living each day meaningfully. It's about putting your best energy into every task, even the boring ones. If you're analyzing a spreadsheet, you're not just crunching numbers, you're mastering a complex system.
But what if your job feels, genuinely meaningless? How do you connect a purpose to something that feels soul-crushing?
You have to manufacture the purpose at first. The mind needs a reason. So if you're an administrator processing claims, the meaning isn't the data entry. The meaning is that you are facilitating stability and fairness for thousands of people.
You give the task a broader, positive meaning.
Exactly. That cognitive shift reduces the feeling of drudgery. It conserves the willpower you'd otherwise be wasting just fighting resistance.
Okay, let's talk about tools that can drive this. Discipline often feels like you're pushing a heavy rock uphill.
It shouldn't.
It should feel like you're being pulled toward a goal, and that pull is driven by imagination.
Yes, our internal GPS. And it requires precision.
So, tool 1, mental rehearsal. And we're not talking about just, wishing for something.
No, this is about visualizing your goals as a highly detailed, sensory-rich picture. You have to see it, hear it, smell the environment, feel the texture of the victory as if it's happening right now.
And there's a real cognitive reason this works, right?
A very strong one. This detailed visualization activates a part of your brain called the reticular activating system, or RAS. When you feed your subconscious this vivid future, it starts to treat that outcome as real. And once it's real to your subconscious, it automatically starts scanning your environment for the people, the resources, the opportunities that align with that picture.
So it's like you're setting your internal GPS to success.
You are literally priming your brain to spot the path forward.
Fascinating. But how do you make sure this visualization doesn't just become, a fluffy distraction from the actual work?
That's where the second tool comes in. It connects the vision to your identity.
And that's tool 2, identity-based affirmations, specifically writing them down.
Right. And most people get this wrong. They say things like, I will be successful. But that can feel like you're lying to yourself.
That fake it till you make it feeling.
Which a lot of people resist.
Yeah.
So to make them powerful, you write them as statements of who you already are. Instead of I will be healthy, you write, I'm a disciplined person who always prioritizes fitness. Instead of I'll be a good entrepreneur, it's I'm a focused entrepreneur who consistently delivers high-quality work.
So when discipline becomes part of your identity, the actions just become natural behavior.
You stop being a struggle.
Yeah.
It's just who you are.
Yeah.
But
While these tools guide you, there's one final test, the ultimate test.
The hard
The hard path.
Yeah.
You have to stop looking for the path of least resistance. Anything extraordinary requires choosing the difficult, uncomfortable path over the easy one. every single time.
The willingness to accept short-term discomfort for a long-term reward.
It is the acceptance of discomfort. That's where the muscle of discipline grows. You repeatedly put yourself in uncomfortable situations.
The 5 a.m. alarm versus the warm bed.
Every time. That's the battleground. It's a process of repeatedly defeating that little internal voice that whispers, just take a rest.
I remember reading about an entrepreneur who made himself take the stairs in every building, no matter how high. Not for fitness, but to practice rejecting the easy option.
That is exactly the point. The real growth happens in those unseen moments. When you keep working, even when no one is watching, when no one is there to pat you on the back, that is the separator.
And since that internal journey can feel so isolating, looking outward for guidance is huge. Role models can act as a map when your own willpower is running low.
Yes, and we need to study their process, not just admire their success. We look at their entire journey.
How they manage their time, what habits they built.
And crucially, how they stay disciplined through failure, through rejection.
So it's not about inspiration, it's about instruction.
They provide a tested blueprint. You can literally analyze their timetable, their strategies, and apply those principles to your own routine. You're walking a path that's already been tested.
And your environment matters so much too. Even just spending time virtually through books, interviews, or a deep dive like this, with people focused on growth, it elevates your own standards.
It protects your cognitive energy.
Yeah.
When you're immersed in that world, you start to adopt those habits almost effortlessly. You stop seeing them as burdens and start seeing them as just what you do.
So after all this, what's the takeaway? The ultimate payoff here is application. We know motivation is fleeting, and that discipline is actually freedom.
And the immediate application has to be small.
Mm-hmm.
Don't start with some massive, overwhelming resolution.
You'll just get decision fatigue.
Exactly. Start small. Pick one single, simple, high-impact habit and do it every single day without fail. It could be 10 minutes of distraction-free focus. Or writing down your 3 identity-based affirmations.
So you're building a wall, one single brick at a time, and those daily micro-efforts compound.
They build an unbreakable foundation. And here is the powerful summary sentence we want you to take away from this.
Okay.
Self-discipline is the only reliable engine powerful enough to bridge the gap between your highest intention and your tangible reality.
Start today by committing to that one brick. Choose your next small task, give it your full, protected attention, and just see what happens when you decide to operate from intention, not from a feeling. If this deep dive helped you gain some clarity and avoid that trap of fleeting motivation, like and subscribe to find more practical insights just like this. We appreciate you being part of the conversation.